Are you familiar with the physical edge body language secrets? I mean, you get that edge in the physicality of being around people, being around rooms, being even on a Zoom. Are you familiar with it at least to be able to? Well, most people aren't either. I understand. It's called the magnetic edge. And the magnetic edge in charisma is pretty simple. It is what gives you the edge in a place to be captivating, compelling, but also becoming probably one of the most listened to people in the room. And the question is, how do you do that? I've coached a lot of different people, from direct sellers to real estate people to insurance people, on and on and on how not only to be captivating, but do it in such a way that pulls people in, and you have that magnetic edge to literally everybody finds you captivating, everybody finds you compelling. And this is the reason why I want to go over 5 quick things with you, because I really believe that not only they're going to help you, but they're going to help you in such a way that literally when you are on a Zoom, when you're online or in front of people, people are just absolutely captivated by you. And that's what you want, because I want to say it one more time, charisma is a skill. It is a system that you learn, and then you integrate inside as well as your actionable actions on the outside, and put together can make you a absolute magnet for business. Number one thing I've noticed, and I do it a lot, magnetic people move with a real deliberate calmness, a deliberate slowness. They're not in a rush. I'm not saying they walk in slow motion by any stretch of the imagination, but what I am saying is they have a deliberate, slow gait, slow pace, slow walk that says, I'm in control. I am in control of my presence. I'm in control of me. See, fast movements all the time, it signals, it kind of radiates anxiety, worry, insecurity. Slow, deliberate motion, what that does, it radiates calm, it radiates control, confidence. And this is why that when you're with people and you're around people, or even on a Zoom, there are times that you have to be deliberately calm, deliberately slow, because when I do a Zoom, I'm a little bit more high energy, because you need to be animated, because Zooms have a tendency to slow you down a little bit. But when you still are on a Zoom, there's those times just for impact that you have to step back, be calm, be paced, and move a little bit slower, talk a little bit slower. So this is the reason why magnetic people move with a deliberate calmness, a deliberate slowness, and a deliberate pace that says, I'm in control, I'm here, and I want to talk with you. Because again, people are more focused on people that have that reassurance, that confidence, that conviction, versus somebody that's insecure and constantly worried, constantly moving, and constantly trying to get validated. So number one, magnetic people move with a deliberate slowness. Number two, their eyes anchor. Their eyes don't chase people. Did you get that? Their eyes anchor. They don't chase people. Instead of scanning the room for approval, instead of scanning the room for validation, instead of scanning the room for attention, which a lot of people do, to be perfectly blunt, they lock their gaze in with a calm confidence, a calm certainty, a calm focus that makes others feel like chosen and not necessarily just seen or maybe observed. This is one of the things that I've learned myself the hard way, but I've also taught that sometimes you have to be in that place to where you hold your gaze a little bit longer, you hold your gaze just a little bit sharper, but more importantly, anchor for a couple of seconds longer into somebody's eyes. And when I did a video called Eye Contact versus Eye Connection, you want the eye connection, and then they lock their gaze in with a calm confidence, conviction, a calm certainty, a calm knowing that you know that you're going to the top, you're going to take a bunch of people with you. I've seen so many people in meetings that they did not have that lock. They did not have that calm certainty. And everybody that they looked at, they were taught, you got to have eye contact, eye contact, eye contact. But when you anchor your eyes and the people feel the gaze, they don't just necessarily see you observing them, but they actually feel you looking in and locking in. Man, I'm telling you, it's a different thing. It is a whole different psychology. And this is the reason why magnetic people with the magnetic edge, their eyes anchor They don't chase validation, approval, attention, or anything else. They anchor into somebody, and the listener feels it, the viewer feels it, and most importantly, you feel it. Number 3, they occupy space instead of stepping back from it. Did you get that? They occupy space instead of stepping back from it. Many people have a tendency to step back when they get around people and let them talk and just kind of listen. Magnetic people refuse to let anybody else's words, anybody else's circle crumble their security, crumble their confidence, crumble their conviction. Their posture communicates, I belong here. Did you get that? You must have a posture. You must have a stance. You must have, when people look at you, they know for a fact, because of how you're standing, you belong there, period. And you never said a word. They just know that you have what it takes in order to be in that circle or even to be heard. It's a 3-step process. You enter into a circle or conversation. You occupy the space. You don't just fill it, but you actually occupy it, and it's your space. And then you magnetize it. How do you do that? Charisma. And then you dominate it. How do you dominate it? Charisma. And this is why that when you enter, you occupy, you magnetize, you dominate. Those are the 4 things you do when you come into a place, come into a conversation, anything else. You enter into the conversation, you occupy the space so that you can speak. You magnetize people by talking about them, then you dominate it by listening, talking about them, and telling them where you're going to take them or what's possible in the future. That's how you do it. Don't just fill space, occupy it. If you do that, guys, you're going to find that it's going to go a whole lot better. Every conversation is going to be so much more energized because you're there to dominate. You're just not there to take up space. Number 4, the gestures, their hand gestures and all this other stuff. A lot of people are animated, and because of nervousness, they'll move their hands and do all this other stuff. You need to have gestures that match your message, that reflect your message, that mirror your message, not anxiousness. Most people's gestures, if you really study them like I have, their insecurity just absolutely radiates through animated gestures that make no sense often. You don't want to do that. You need to take your gestures and make sure that they magnify, they amplify, they connect, and they radiate the message that you want to send people. Most people display insecurity through fidgeting, through moving and putting their hands in their pocket and not saying much, kind of slouching. Magnetic individuals, they gesture with conviction. They gesture with purpose. They gesture with power. They gesture with something that people feel, and it increases the impact of their message. It just doesn't call attention to their hands. Did you get that? Charismatic people, when they gesture, it increases the impact of their message, not just animates their hands. And this reinforces everything that you say. And that's why that when you do gestures, make sure that it mirrors what you want to say. It reflects the communication that you want to message out to people. But most importantly, it just messages out that I'm in control of myself. I know what I'm talking about. I am a very confident person, and I can help you. So number 1, magnetic people move with a very slow, deliberate calmness. Number 2, their eyes anchor. They don't chase validation. They don't chase attention. They don't chase attaboys, kudos, all that other stuff. They occupy space instead of stepping back from it. Most people, believe it or not, step back from it. They occupy all the way to dominate. Number 4, their gestures match their message, match their broadcast, match what they're thinking, saying, and it's all congruent. And number 5, their stillness is louder than most other people's words and movement. Did you get that? Their calm, warm stillness is louder than other people's words and movement. I've seen this. I've watched people before, literally maybe 10 people in a circle, and they haven't said a word, but they're the dominant presence in that circle. Did you get that? They're calm, they're confident, they observe, they listen, they nod their head, and they lock in on people. They're not normally, pay attention to me, hey, make me feel good about being here or validate me. the stillness, their calm, warm, convinced confidence is what people feel as they stand there. And literally, they've never said a word in 2 or 3 minutes, but yet they still are the dominant presence in that circle. When charismatic people pause, the room and the people, the circle, the people on a Zoom, they listen, because true presence, true leadership, true power, true conviction radiates more power than constant motion ever could. Did you get that? A presence that is energized, magnetized, and activated radiates so much more power than any constant motion, movement, conversation, gestures that anybody could do. And this is why that the magnetic edge has more to do with an inner calmness that's on fire. Did you get that? An inner calmness, an inner confidence, an inner conviction that's on fire, because you're energized, you're excited, but yet when they look at you, they feel the calmness, they feel the conviction, they feel the confidence, and they feel the connection. This is why that you've got to develop the magnetic edge, because the magnetic edge is probably one of the most important things that you can develop in any messaging or anything else. You need to do it on camera. There is a certain way that you move on camera that has to keep their attention, whether it's on video, short form, long form, or whether it's on a Zoom. And if you have that magnetic edge, even your presence on camera, then you can only imagine what that's going to feel like in conversation. And that's how you do it, guys. Guys, we're doing something special here. We're really, really doing something special here, because we're going to have hundreds of videos on charismatic, charisma, all the different things, how to be captivating, how to be compelling. And it's going to be hundreds of videos that will help you that most, if not all, have never heard, because most of what we have written, and I've written about charisma for years and years and years. I got a book eventually it's coming out called The Charisma Magnet. I want you to subscribe. I want you to follow. I want you to like and share this and get it to people that this will help, because the magnetic edge gives you an edge that is worth money in the bank. Charisma, if you're looking to increase your impact, increase your results, increase your business, increase your income, charisma is one of the nuclear core tools, systems, is one of the nuclear core things, if you will, that will help you get there. It is truly a business building tool and a presence building tool, first on the inside, then on the outside. That's the definition of how charisma works. You develop it first in here with understanding about the psychology and various other things like that, which we're going to go through and have been going through on these videos. And then on the outside to where you learn how to be charismatic in a way that people feel it. And this is the reason why we're doing these videos. We want you to take this tool, this system, and we want you to learn it. We want you to master it so that everything that you do will be captivating, compelling, and absolutely confident. And those three words, captivating, compelling, confident, are worth $1 million to you, your business, and your future. Like, follow, share, guys. Spread the fire.